Mortal Kombat 2! More characters! 3 times more images! More secret moves! More battlegrounds! More hidden surprises! And it's the first video game to feature our crystal clear DCS sound. These are the 12 combatants. Each possesses an array of special strengths. Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, Reptile, Sub-Zero, Shang Tsung, Kitana, Jax, Melina, Baraka, Scorpion, and Raiden. Get to know these characters, because when it comes to fighting for profits, they're all in your corner. Mortal Kombat 1 has started an unstoppable global fire, and notoriety has fanned the flames. The world's players have embraced these characters, and they're begging us for more. Never before has a game been so perfectly poised for such massive success. What was a roaring blaze will now become a raging inferno of profit. Get ready to feel the heat of Mortal Kombat 2. The world's ultimate fighting machine.
Our motto in Williams is always that reality is boring. Nobody wants to pay for reality. We take everything beyond reality to the point where it's, the only way to do this is through our video game.
It's the perfect blending of everything. I mean, the game is fun to play. It's got good graphics, and it's got a decent backstory to it.
It's easy to come up with the ideas. Anybody can come up with ideas for games and stuff, but it's to actually convert something from an idea in your head into reality, into something that is a sellable product. That's where the challenge is. John Tobias and myself came up with the idea of doing the game.
Our first inclination was to do a fighting game, but we wanted to exploit our hardware capabilities with displaying huge digitized graphics.
Yeah, that was the guy who, I totally get that. He was the guy who came to your office for that. That's funny. Oh, is this not secret?
We split very evenly the responsibility in terms of the creation portion of the game. John comes up with the characters, their costumes, their look, the story behind them, and essentially the whole mythos behind the game.
There's comfort in knowing that the other person is doing their job beyond your expectations. The good thing about working with Ed is you can hand him some artwork and you can, you'll see it in the game pretty quickly.
Whatever can possibly happen in the game, I have to program the game to be able to do that.
Cantaloupes are an interesting fruit. They didn't quite provide the proper resonance. I had a lot more success with honeydew and cassava.
Dan shows you cool stuff every couple of days. He just comes in and you go, great, this is awesome.
And he's a lot like Ed, where I just have this confidence that, he's going to go away and come back with something spectacular.
Scary sounding, hopefully. I like to do scary music.
Finality.
And then there's John Vogel. He did backgrounds for part 1. He did some stop motion animation stuff for part 2, and he did some backgrounds in part 3.
He worked on backgrounds along with Tony Goski.
Tony's probably one of the most respected artists in this department. He's probably one of the best artists in any industry, and he conceptualizes backgrounds as well.
The Soul Chamber, and this is where the tornado.
He never sees a tornado.
I think of everybody on the team, Steve probably keeps his wits about him the best.
Steve Baran worked on Mortal Kombat 3. That was the first one he worked on, and he did the character graphics with John Tobias.
I like doing stuff that's actually kind of shocking. Not so much violent or anything, but just stuff that gets a reaction.
Dave Mikuchich, he's like our resident 3D expert. He kind of got everybody up to speed on doing 3D stuff, and he can crank out anything using a 3D program faster than anybody in the world. People don't realize that there is a lot of work done in the actual characters and their costumes. I've never asked John for a character that looks like something. He shows me something and says, what do you think of that? And I go, that's great.
See, the inspiration, I think, for a lot of the characters comes from all over the place. I mean, they come from movies I've seen when I was a kid. They come from books I've read. I mean, everybody gets inspiration from somewhere.
As with all the Mortal Kombat games, the characters are definitely the most interesting of any fighting game.
Hey, get out of here, man. It's supposed to be in here.
Well, let's see, a character would probably first start with me sitting down, staring at a blank wall for a little while, and then after a while, something will hit me and I'll just start sketching around different ideas.
John will send the sketch to a costume designer. We went months and months not having names for these characters, and then we'd have these powwow sessions where everybody would kind of throw out names, and then 95% of them, somebody would say a name, and then there'd be one of us, of the 5 or 6 of us, who would just, have a heart attack just because they hated it so much. And then we're like, okay, I guess that's a no.
That's good. Once the costume's completed, we'll all get together in the studio.
And then we have a list, a huge list of animations, kicks, punches, uppercuts, and then the special moves and stuff. And we basically go down that list, capturing every single frame of them performing these moves.
And then digitize, all the various motions.
The day that we spent filming is probably, like 2% of the entire amount of time that has to be devoted into doing it.
It's just all sitting at the computer and touching them up and stripping the images and preparing them to hand over to Ed.
As you play the game, when you first start, the computer is very dumb. It'll just stand there, it'll let you beat it up, and then as you fight the second guy, it'll get a little smarter, and the third guy a little smarter. And it has to be progressive. It has to be something that's, a smooth increase in the difficulty, because if you play the game the first time and the computer kills you, you're not going to want to play it again.
I think the music that Dan developed for the game, a lot of it he bases on the individual background.
Ed gives me a videotape of just sort of scrolling through the backgrounds. I just look at that and try to get some idea about the kind of mood that we're trying to represent.
Hi, I'm Kano. After a day of mending and killing, there's nothing I like better than a cold can of Kano Cola. good.
Fatalities, there was this feeling when you finished a match in Mortal Kombat where you sort of beat the other character and he's standing there, you know, stunned, and then he just falls to his feet or you punch him or something like that.
Fatality.
We added the first few and it really made it seem like you really have now accomplished something.
There was a rumor that there were animalities in number 2, in Mortal Kombat 2, but there weren't. And so we're going to put them in this one.
Their basis was rumors started by the fans themselves, and we're just sort of playing on the popularity of the rumors.
Animality.
Mortal Kombat 3 has so much hidden stuff, you know, it's just endless, you know, just the amount of stuff that we packed in there.
The button and joystick combinations were the expected. You know, everybody would start looking for them immediately, and that's when I believe Ed came up with this whole sort of combination lock system.
There's 6 little boxes, 3 of which are controlled by player 1, 3 of which are controlled by player 2. Try different combinations of those 6. There's a million possible combinations to see what can be unlocked in the game.
There are codes hidden in the movie. There are codes hidden in our print ads.
In the TV commercial for the home game, there are codes hidden in, you know, background objects or, you know, a wall or a fence or something like that.
What is it? Oh my.
The CD-ROM which is coming out has tons of codes, and also the home game contained codes. Maybe I should mention it.
The Ultimate Comic Code? No, I don't know any codes.
And between you and me, I really don't think anybody's going to be able to find that. Or will they?
It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion.
I did a lot of reading on different history, Japanese history, Chinese history, and the mythologies of Asia. But I read a particular book that sort of detailed the history of the ninja from China, which is new to me. I mean, ninja is a Japanese word, ninjas are Japanese. But I learned that there's this group of Chinese sort of ninjas that claim to be the originator of sort of the assassin thief in Asia. And they call themselves the Lin Kuei. And we learn in mythologies that Sub-Zero is not a ninja, doesn't like being called a ninja, he's a Lin Kuei warrior.
Let's get something straight. I am not a ninja, I am Lin Kuei. Scorpion was a ninja.
We chose Sub-Zero as a center point for the first mythologies game because of all the different characters, he alone has sort of the most mysterious backstory. His history with Scorpion, is talked about a lot, and we sort of vaguely started that story in the first Mortal Kombat game and built upon it in the subsequent games. And what we are attempting to do in this game is go back to his history and sort of explain and show how he became who he is and how his life sort of led up to the first Mortal Kombat tournament.
One of the special things about Mortal Kombat Mythologies is that it's actually the first Mortal Kombat adventure game to be introduced to the home. Whereas most of the previous ones were basically a translation of an arcade game, so everybody knew exactly what they're getting. This game is a lot more of a, original element involved in it, because you're going to be seeing things that you've never seen before.
In a regular Mortal Kombat game, you're fighting one-on-one with a different person in one room. Here, you still fight against the computer in one room, but once you're done fighting them, you have a whole other world to travel around in.
Along the way, there's a bunch of pitfalls. There's pillars that smash on you. You can fall into spikes, and there's blades that crush you to death.
Or you could be fighting in a fire world where you're just trying to get through without being burnt to a crisp.
You can go off on a tangent and just explore something maybe that you think might do something, but it may not. But it'd be worth the reward if you can get it to work.
Sub-Zero actually gains experience throughout the game, and he gains certain powers, he picks up certain items.
It's a good game. It takes you into the world of Mortal Kombat. It's like an interactive movie. As a programmer, I get to implement a few features in the end of the design process that maybe actually some of the other team members don't even know about.
The Mortal Kombat Mythologies team in Chicago consisted of seven of us sort of on the main team, and also including Dan Forden, who did our sounds. The programmers basically took the artwork that was done and handled Sub-Zero traversing through the environments and took care of a lot of the elements with the fighting and things of that nature, and obviously dealt with issues of the gameplay. The artists did everything from digitizing live actors to building 3D models and texture mapping them and doing keyframing and motion capturing.
And now, on to Hollywood.
Alert the keepers and send a full garrison to intercept. Make sure that he does not cross the breach.
The keepers? But he's just immortal.
Do not question me, Serena. And more importantly, do not fail me.
We create the full motion videos by shooting live actors against a green screen. And then after we do that, we edit that footage down and then hand it off to the artists. And the artists take it and they composite 3D graphic images behind the actors so that it just looks like a real world. To give you an idea of how incredibly artists who worked on the FMVs were, we did a scene that consisted of nothing more than a chair and two actors, and everything else around them was created in the computer. And when I look at that scene now, it's still tough for me to remember what it was like when it was just green.
There is more movies in the game than you immediately see, and so if you play your cards right, you can see what else is in there. But and it's a very privileged thing to find these missing things. The object of the game is you need to go through these different worlds searching for the amulet. Basically, each world has a god that you have to fight to be able to get to the next world.
I think in playing the game, it's kind of easy to just sort of jump over enemies and blow right through it. But it's pretty important that you do a lot of fighting, especially early on. First off, to get used to the controls. Second, because through fighting you collect experience points, and experience points, when gained, are what sort of give you your new powers.
I'm going to show you the first wave or two of the game. Okay, so in the very beginning, you're basically breaking into a Shaolin temple to retrieve a map. And this is your first mission in the game. One thing you want to do is be very careful when you're running into rooms, because there could be a monk right behind a door. Okay, next up is the outside balcony. Best thing to do is jump on the wall and then just very lightly tap to the right, and you'll jump straight down, hit a canopy, and land safely.
Obviously, you have to learn how to do combos. You can fight opponents without learning combinations, but it'll take you a lot longer to finish them off.
To start the first punch combo, it's just you hit high punch. When you're in close on a guy, hit high punch twice, and you'll immediately go into a two-hit combo.
One of the best things to do is to take your time going through each world and really go through every nook and cranny and try to find things, because later on, when you're at the end of the game, you might need something that was, hanging around 3 worlds back.
When Mortal Kombat players first play this game, they forget almost sometimes that there is an inventory screen there, and the inventory screen can save your life. I'd say the best thing to keep in mind is that when you're running low on health, don't forget that if you have some healers in your inventory, you want to go in there, select them, and make sure that you use them to sort of boost your health back. The Wind World, which is the second level in the whole game, is probably one of the hardest. It's a lot of fun. Once you get used to making the jumps, which, look a lot more difficult than they are, it's a lot of fun to play.
Now, the secret of jumping from windmill to windmill is to jump earlier than you think you need to, right now.
In this particular game, the controls of the character are identical to what they have been in the previous Mortal Kombat. The high kicking, high punch, sweep kicks, roundhouses, all of those have been retained.
A player that goes through Mortal Kombat mythologies from beginning to end and learns all the hidden secrets in that game could potentially use what he's learned from that game to find some of the hidden features in Mortal Kombat 4. I think a lot more things are going to become clear in the Mortal Kombat universe when people play mythologies, and I think after they've played mythologies and then they see Mortal Kombat 4, these characters will have a lot more purpose.
There's so many different characters, and there's so many different stories and twists. Liu Kang has a history, Raiden has a history, Sonya has a history, Kano does. They all sort of have their own mythologies that we could dip into and explore a little bit more. And so in that sense, the door is wide open. Players, here we are on the outside of Midway Games here in Chicago, and I'm going to take you inside and we're going to go on a little tour and we'll meet a lot of developers and people who make the games that you guys play. We have lunch in here daily, and these are all the different games we play. We got a few people working on off-road, looks like, here in the back. Maybe you can get a peek at them. Boo. Now we're going to wander over into our office area. Here we're actually editing the video you're watching. How you doing, Chris? There's myself on the screen there. Chris is doing the editing on the video that you're watching as I speak. Here we go. This beat-up, tattered-looking studio is where we've shot all of the digitizing for the Mortal Kombat games. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most secret code I could ever give anybody, and it's the code to our motion capture studio, so we're going to have to change it after this. It's 2-4 at the same time, then it's 3. Look at that. So next time you guys break into Midway, you know how to get in our motion capture studio. You know, when you work in computers, everything's got to be clean and pristine. You can't be slobs about anything. When you see guys jump flipping and doing somersaults in Mortal Kombat, they do it off this trampoline. And the reason why we use it is because, you know, a lot of times you got a motion capture guys jumping. so we get them jumping on his trampolines. And we actually have trouble guys, you know, banging their head on the ceiling. That light's out there because somebody whacked it real good. Somebody's in there. Here we go. Door was open. Here's our costume room. This is where, whenever we costume anybody, we kind of bring them over here. We've got, here you see Scorpion's costume. Here we've got Shinnok's costume. And what else do we have here? Here's Raiden's. Here, this is cool. Scorpion's mask. Now we're kind of making our way into the catacombs. And as you can see, it says here, closed door means please do not disturb. But, see, there's a little crack here. So I'm assuming that the door's not closed. So we're going to go in, and this is Ed Boon's office. So here we go. Now they seem to be in the middle of a deep thought here, putting together a video. And they're not too amused, so we'll just leave them. And here's our good friend Eddie Ferrier. He's been a playtester here for a few years. Eddie, what's the best game you've ever played? All right, you didn't hear that. What's the best game you ever played?
Sub-Zero.
There you go. Here we've got the godfather, the doctor of video games, Eugene Jarvis, creator of all. Some call him God. What do you call yourself?
Face.
That's good. That's a wrap. Let's end it there.
One of the things, I'm not sure how many people know Sub-Zero's fatality in Mortal Kombat 4, but his fatality involves pushing 3 buttons at the same time. That's it. Nobody even knows. I haven't told anybody that one.
Yes, there are fatalities in this game. There are only a couple different circumstances where Sub-Zero can do a fatality. And, you know, we don't like giving away clues or hints anywhere, but just for the people watching this tape, in the map room in the temple, Sub-Zero can perform a fatality against Scorpion if you stand about an arm's length away from him and you push forward, down, and forward, and then push high punch. Sub-Zero will perform a fatality. So that's just between you and me. You being the people watching this tape and me being the guy sitting right here. That was stupid.
Game over.